Okay, yeah. Hello, guys. I'm Mr. Perfect, and I'm going to share something on systematic review writing. So we're going to start with the introduction. So in this video, I'm only going to discuss just a few points and how you're supposed to structure your introduction chapter, which is the first chapter of systematic review. So like in systematic review, you just write your introduction the same way you do for any other dissertation. Like just want to use a word document in this case so that you can get it a little bit clearly. So when you're writing your introduction chapter of systematic review, so this is our introduction chapter. So if this is chapter 1, so introduction, just like any other dissertation, the same way you do for other projects. In the introduction section, you start with the chapter overview, which is the overview of the chapter. You just state here what you're going to cover in this chapter, which is now chapter 1. So just see that in this chapter, you're going to give a background of the project and outline the objectives and the aims of the study. Just give an overview of what you're going to do in this chapter. The second subtopic in this chapter is now background. Here you provide background information about the topic. Assume, for example, we are talking about menstrual hygiene management, for example. Assume that is the topic that your project is focusing. In this case, now you explain what is menstrual, what is menstruation, what is menstrual hygiene management, just the background. You give statistics on how, like, if, for example, you are focusing on menstrual hygiene management in India, for example, you just talk about how menstrual hygiene management has been able to improve, how they have improved their tactics, how they have been able to manage menstrual health. Just focus on that. In India, you can also generalize for developing world. That is what you do. You provide background information about your topic. The third subsection, which is subheading this chapter, you give the problem. You state the problem. Why are you doing this study? Which problem are you solving? Which knowledge gap are you filling? So here is the problem statement. You have to be very clear on which problem you are solving. If it was menstrual hygiene management, for example, and you're talking about India, you can say that some authorities have relaxed, and they're going to identify these authorities, like these bodies that are not doing their work as expected, and then provide a recommendation on how they're supposed to be influenced to do their work appropriate for improvement in menstrual hygiene. So here you state the problem. What problem, what knowledge gap is your study going to fill? That's what you state here. So you have to declare in the first sentence you're supposed to recommend, like you're supposed to say that, like some bodies have done their work well, but there are those that have relaxed. So in this study, I'm going to do what? I'm going to identify these bodies and provide more recommendation for improvement and menstrual hygiene management. So that's what you call problem statement. Now is the problem that your study is going to solve. So in the first subsection, you provide the research aim. So now in this case, what is the aim of your project? What is, you just be specific. 1 or 2 lines, you state the aim of your research. In the fifth subsection, you talk about the research objectives. You can state the research objectives or research questions. So if it's research objectives, you suppose like if it was mentioned in gene management in India, my study was on that topic. Then I would talk about things like identify bodies that have been that are involved in menstrual gene management in India, to recommend strategies for improvement in menstrual and gene management, like that. That's now those are objectives. If you are talking about research questions, now be here, you focus on questions that your study will have to answer. This the questions that the study is going to answer. Like if it is the case of menstrual and gene management, the first question will be which bodies are involved in menstrual and gene management in India? What strategy should be adopted for menstrual and gene management in India to be improved? Something like that. That's what we call those are now research questions. After that, you provide a brief overview of the methodology. Here, you just state briefly the method that is going to be adopted in this case. So, you're supposed to say that this study will review existing literature. We will review systematically existing literature on menstrual and gene management in India, so as to identify bodies that have relaxed in their roles and responsibility towards improvement in menstrual gene management, something like that. You just brief, and then you can like talk about the search engines, like the sources would be searched from Google Scholar, ProQuest, and then they'll be excluded through this, and this, and then the remaining ones will be analyzed through content analysis, thematic analysis, something like that. You just give it briefly, just like 5 lines, that would be enough. And then from there, you go to significance of the study. And the significance of the study, you can also talk about contribution. What will be the contribution of your study? How is it going to, what impact will it have in this field of knowledge? How to be backed policy making in India as far as menstrual and gene management is concerned. That's what you cover under subject 1.7, and then under the eighth section, which is the last in this case, we talk about organization of the study. How is the study going to be organized? In this case, you're supposed to talk about things like you're supposed to, first of all, state what you have done in the first chapter. You're supposed to say that the first chapter has provided a background and research objectives of the study. The second chapter is going to provide, or is going to be, it will be like something like that, will be literature review, whereby past sources on menstrual and gene management will be reviewed, something like that. And then the third chapter will be methodology, whereby the concepts and the methodology that are the approaches that have been used to get the sources and analyze them will be discussed. The fourth chapter will be results, whereby the results of the analysis will be provided. The fifth chapter will be discussion, and then the last chapter will be conclusion, where also recommendations will be provided. That will be now the organization of the study, how the study is going to be organized. So in this introduction, just going to be very brief. The only section that was supposed to be detailed enough is background. The other section is supposed to be like 100, 200, maximum 200 words. So you just be very brief for this section, except for background, whereby you're supposed to give the reader a background information, just a brief understanding of the topic that we're going to cover. So for 15,000 words, for example, if you are writing 15,000 words for your dissertation, this section is supposed to be 1,000 words. If you're also doing 10,000 words, this is supposed to be 1,000 words as well, so that you can cover everything in detail and give the reader a brief of what the project is going to cover. So I think that's what you're supposed to. That's what you're supposed to know as far as introduction is concerned. So make sure you follow uh, uh, those points, and I'm sure you're going to make a good introduction section of your dissertation. Okay, thank you so much.